Welcome back, everybody, to the show. I am your host, as always, Jay Villain, aka That Villain Jay, and with me, my partner in podcast, the numbest of skulls, literally the numbest of skulls, Mr. Numbskull himself, right there. We are here on the Black Council, the final episode of 2024. Here we go. It is coming to an end. We're recording this December 29th. It's about to be the 30th. So I think this will be up early for patrons. And then you might be seeing this on New Year's Day, which is a great day to retrospect, to look back, to reflect on the day, on the year. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be going over the best, the worst, the most, the least,
the pretty, the ugly,
the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic, and possibly talking about what we hope to see for the year to come.
And what we see, what we want to accomplish with the council, even.
Exactly. And also, guys, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you in the chat. I want to hear from you in the Discord if you're part of the Patreon Discord. Leave a comment. Go to the chat, or the live chat if you're in this live. Hi, live chatters. Tell us, what is, when we ask what is your favorite, what was your worst, what was your ultimate, we want to hear your versions as well. This is the council. We'd like to bring everyone in. We'd like to be interactive with it.
We're going to give a lot of our own opinions in this episode. In turn, we'd like to hear yours.
Yeah. So we'd love to hear from you. But we're going to give you our end of the year, and we're going to talk a little bit about the state of the council too. We're going to give you some statistics on what we can see you guys liked and what we didn't like.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's going to be fun. That's going to be really fun. So first things first, we'd love you to join our Patreon, which is the way that our Black Council is supported here. When you join our Patreon for as little as $1 a month or $2 or whatever you want to give, $1 per episode, however you want to do it. You follow that link, you join up, you get immediate access to the Black Council Discord, where you can have, there's special videos that you can see, behind the scenes stuff. You get to vote on new videos. Like our last episode, for example, was a user suggestion. They wanted to know lore about planeswalkers, and we tied that into Aether So if you want to get involved, you want to be more involved in and support what we do here on the Black Council podcast, come on by and say hello. So first things first, we want to say hello to all of our patrons. I'll read them off right here. Neptune, Mez Undead, VG, Zyran, Jason Flood, Just the One, Larry Mitchell, Jay Langford, Metal Mechanic, Notorious D, Deadfast, Argent Icon, W. Taylor, Lars Van Breems, Xylo Beast, Jamel, Jay Langford III, Jamel Zilla, actually, I think that is, Trexodactyl, as always, Lord Gypticus the Flipticus, Mamulian, Cassius, Nickel Nuts, Ulvir, Dante Valentine, Zaveritz, and of course, Clever Sounds. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon.
Thank you, guys.
Those are the key supporters. Thank you. So, as we go into the new year, we're going to be looking for more patrons. We're going to be doing more stuff. We're going to try to drive it. We got a big roster next year. We're getting 6 standard releases. Okay, so next year is a huge year for Magic. We're doing a top 10 every 2 months. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that yet. That's gonna be, I guess we're gonna have to do more episodes next year.
We're definitely gonna have to do at least. I don't even think we can take a summer break anymore. I don't even.
We're getting put to work, dude.
We're getting put to work because we're gonna have to do a top 10 every 2 months. We do a deck from every single one, so that's 12 videos right there. Immediately, that's 12 videos right there. Aside from all the other stuff
and preview. Well, you said top 10, but that's an easy 12, and that's what. So that's like 2. That's basically our one a month, because you do maybe 1 month is the top 10, and then the next month is the deck. So
exactly. So we're gonna have 6 early accesses. It's gonna be a crazy year for Magic. So probably the biggest year yet. And speaking of which, first thing I want to talk about is I want to say thank you.
Absolutely.
This year was 2 things. It was the biggest year of the Black Council ever. and it was the biggest year for my channel, the J Villain channel that hosts the Black Council, ever. The interesting statistics is 2024 held 1.3 million views for me on my channel.
Wow, that's impressive.
Out of about 4 million, so roughly 1/3 of the total views that I got in the lifetime of my channel were 2024. Banner year for the channel, and because of that, a rising tide lifts all boats and all that. Banner year for the council,
of course.
And if we look back, I'm going to put up some statistics up. I shared them with Numbskull. The top all time, or the last year top decks, I'll put them up on the thing. I'll put the graphics not up now, but you can see them. So yeah, 2 mono black decks in the top seat. The Duskmourn, the Foundations deck was the most popular deck of the year, was the Demons Foundations deck, followed closely by a Duskmourn Vampires. And then interestingly enough, huge amounts of hype for the Duskmourn top 10 best cards, which I think is interesting. And I'm going to tie that in with another fact right here. The most enjoyed and the most celebrated deck of anticipated and rated by a poll that I put up on my channel, the most liked and appreciated set of this year was Duskmourn.
Yeah.
So
really good set.
By a wide margin, believe it or not, I voted out of about 1,000 votes for the people on my channel. Duskmourn was voted their favorite set. Jeez, 48% said that Duskmourn House of Horror was their favorite set.
A pretty serious amount.
That is a huge amount. Bloomborough being 38%, so it beat Bloomborough by 10%. The next, Outlaws at Thunder Junction was a meager 11%, which is surprising. I thought people liked Outlaws.
Yeah.
I liked Outlaws. And Murders of Karlov Manor, unsurprisingly, at the absolute worst at 3% right there. We can talk about the blunders of Karlov Manor as we go in, but
sadly
we can.
Hey, I like Vein Ripper.
We got Vein Ripper. I mean, we got one card out of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
So
love my Vein Ripper, but yeah, it seems like, I mean, as good news is it seems like the sets got increasingly better as the year went on.
Yes, as the year went on, it literally in order of the sets releases was the enjoyable. So it looked like we kind of righted a ship a little bit, I suppose.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I have to. So going from that, going a lot of little statistics. We go back to the top 10 here. The other interesting thing about the podcast, if we go back to the statistics, if we look at the lifetime statistics of the podcast, the overall from the whole life of it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the top videos, the top 10 videos of our entire podcast were from this year. I don't think I sent you that one.
Oh, of our top 10? I think all of our top 10 videos are...
Well, that was that year. That was the top 10 of 2024.
just for the year. Okay,
I'm talking about since we started our podcast in 2022.
Sure.
The only one that edged out, all time and got into the top 10 of all time was the Phyrexian Mono Black Phyrexians from
that one
2023.
Was yeah, that was popular.
So huge year for the Black Council, and we really want to thank you for supporting and doing everything that you did.
Of course. And we're glad that you guys like our deck videos so much. Those usually always, like, for a while it felt like each deck video for best deck of the new set would break our previous record as like our most viewed. That's what it's kind of felt like this past year, which has been really fun for us. And it kind of makes us pretty hyped to make these decks for you guys too. I'll speak for myself at least. Jay might agree that I think I have had the most fun recording those deck videos, like for the podcast. Like out of all the types of videos that we do, I think those are the most fun for me.
Yeah, we definitely deck videos are very popular. First of all, my channel is a deck channel, is a deck building.
Sure,
so,
yeah. By default, it's gonna
default it's always going to be popular. They're a lot of fun. We go on some crazy rides on them. We won a standard event. I think we and if we would have ran that standard event with the other deck that we made, we would have won that one because we went.
We're undefeated or like one loss. Like there's
we went 6-2.
We've been undefeated or 1 or 2 losses with a few of these this year, which has been great. And I think we've done some that I've played in paper also. Some that in paper I've done really well with. I think the one discard deck that we did for Bloomborough, that's the one that I used to win the store championship. So
that was number 4 of viewed of all time.
Yeah, so that was a popular one, which is awesome. And equally, we've put out some pretty good decks, both in best of 1 and best of 3, which I think is pretty fun. And I think is helpful for a wide or I should say multiple demographics of viewers, for the channel, which is great. So yeah, we're really happy about that. Jay and I obviously it starts from he and I liking to play Magic, so the ones where we get to play Magic for you guys and make a deck for you guys generally are pretty sick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're usually pretty excited to do those for you. So we're glad that we were able to do that a lot this year. We're glad they were well received. And we are thankful for your excitement and your, and all of that for it.
It seems that mono black decks, obviously being the Black Council, our mono black decks are the favorite.
Yeah, or like mostly black based.
Black based, or Orzhov was the only one that snuck in there, and that was a vampire deck.
It was just like a couple white cards. Like it was basically mono black,
The top 10 videos, and believe it or not, snuck in there rotation review. The best and worst of rotation.
That was big.
That was people like that one, and I definitely think that was a fun one. And I'd like to do. I think shout out to Rebellion. I think people really do like that kind of state of the meta content.
They kill it with their videos.
Absolutely. By the way, check out Rebellion. Everyone's asked me what YouTubers do you watch. I watch State of the Meta, State of the Standard Meta. Mostly so I can leave insane comments.
I like to leave some funny comments too.
I leave insane comments on there and see what happens. So so maybe we'll do more of those because that seems the most popular. Top 10 deck builds, and maybe we'll do some more State of the Meta. We've done some other stuff. We've done lore, and we've done IRL stuff. We did the stuff about the conventions and controversies and things like that with Magic. But for the most part, that's where people seem to like the most content.
Agreed. Yeah, it's just something that we try to do things that we hope and think would be relevant to you, which I think is big. That's that's important. So, but yeah, we'll definitely be looking to do more of that. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of maybe not necessarily controversy, but there's going to be things that come up next year in Magic that are going to maybe need like further explanation.
We have a lot. We have an absolute fire hose of content coming. As
so it's. About. I mean, it's probably good for content creators. It's good for us. It's going to be more work, but we're ready for it.
It is going to be more work. I'm gonna.
It's fine though.
That's why I'm thinking about. I'm gonna slow down in January because, like, literally as soon as Aether Drift hits, it's like Aether Drift into, what's the one after Aether Drift? Tarkir.
Yeah.
Aether Drift, Tarkir, Final Fantasy, Edge of Eternities, Spider-Man, and then a mysterious one after the other.
The mysterious,
It's literally, it's February, April, June. February, April, June. August, October.
And that's it.
And then October, that's it.
February, June.
It's every 2 months we're hitting the ground, and that is just standard. There's going to be other shit going on in that. There's going to be So it is going to be pretty wild. It's going to be
SpongeBob is coming.
SpongeBob's
SpongeBob's Secret Lair. I'm hoping for hashling slasher secret lair.
Yeah, you get
for
that
the
for
unstoppable slasher.
Unstoppable slasher. That's
I'm
awesome.
ready for it, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that's that's one of the things I want to see in 2025. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you have anything from Magic that you were looking to see.
I am excited, probably most excited for Final Fantasy. I am.
I wish I would have got into that some more, like before.
Yeah, I am
right now.
100% more into Final Fantasy. I'm more excited than Aether Drift. Tarkir is exciting. Spider-Man, sure, why not? Whatever. I don't, I like Spider. I know my girlfriend's gonna bankrupt me running that, but, Tarkir is good. I really like Tarkir. I think warriors are going to be ascendant again. Humans and warriors probably going to be pretty good.
That's cool.
Dragons, I'm always a fan of dragon decks.
Always.
I don't know about Edge of Eternities. Edge of Eternities is like supposedly space themed. It's at the edge of the Blind Eternity, so it's in like the Aether. It's in like not exactly outer space, but Magic's version of outer space.
Okay.
So there's like some weird shit going on. I don't know how people are going to receive that. I don't know how people are going to receive Aether Drift. Those are going to be questions. Probably, I will say this. Maybe you can say yours. So, upcoming, most anticipated for me is Final Fantasy. What would you say is your most anticipated for next year?
I think Tarkir, and that's just because it's something that I think is like familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like somewhat familiar. You did get me like pretty hyped for Aether Drift though when we were doing the lore. Like I was increasingly excited as we talked more and more about what it was going to be. So I was happy about that. I think Aether Drift and Tarkir are going to be good. And the Final Fantasy set's probably going to be pretty lit. I'm not going to lie. But that kind of leads me also to like what are you like nervous about? I'm nervous about what the Universe Beyond is going to do to Standard. So
I'm also nervous about Universes Beyond and Standard. The negative reaction to Universes Beyond has been very severe.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think probably more so, as like you said with SpongeBob. I mean, that's not Universes Beyond. That's Secret Lair, and I think people have gotten that confused because of the memes.
Yeah. They make a meme of like any cartoon or any outside world now just being Magic cards. They get very hyperbolic with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they're not like there's not going to be a SpongeBob standard legal set, so you don't have to worry too much. I mean, like I'm cool with like having some SpongeBob cards. I'm not even mad about that. Yeah. Because I just like SpongeBob. But yeah, you're right. Like I think it's something to worry about a little bit. I'm also a little nervous for like the Universes Beyond. We've had them before. They've never been standard legal, but I mean, Lord of the Rings was definitely probably like one of the best, so to speak, but also like probably like the highest power level that we've seen for being legal in other formats. Like you have the One Ring and Orcish Bowmasters and this and that. Now I think that was the only one that they allowed to be legal in Modern. Yeah. But I think you guys have heard me say this before. It's like the One Ring got banned in Modern, and right now Orcish Bowmasters is the #1 most played non-land card in Modern. Yeah. So what that tells you is that set brought out some very high power level cards. Yeah. The One Ring and Bowmasters are also very popular cards in like Commander decks, another format where they're legal. So that begs the question for me: what is the power level of Universes Beyond sets in 2025 that'll be standard legal? Are they going to be way more powerful than all the other standard cards, and then we're just going to be playing Universes Beyond Tribal? Or are we going to water it down and in turn make people feel like it wasn't enough to a degree? Is Wizards going to get it just right and have it the exact right power level to be good in Standard, but also good in the other formats that is legal in Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, Commander, whatever? Is it going to be good in all those formats? I mean, you know, there's always one or two cards from each format that are like played in everything. Like from Duskmourn, it's Oculus. Oculus is played in like every format right now. All the constructed formats love Oculus.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a really good card. So they hit a home run with that, you know, and that's awesome. Now, is Universes Beyond going to deliver that for us while also maintaining a good power level in Standard, and equally so doing justice to the characters that are in Universes Beyond? Because it's like, remember like Lord of the Rings, where like, man, I wish like the Aragorn card was like better,
way better, yeah.
Because like Aragorn was a great character in Lord of the Rings, but the card sucked.
Yeah.
And you have something as simple as like an orc with arrows being the best thing. The One Ring was obvious. We thought that was going to be what it was. But
yeah, the Gandalfs almost never got played.
Yeah, Gandalf not being played. Sauron, I think that's a huge miss there.
I played Sauron the Necromancer. The Nazgul hit it out of the park.
Nazgul was great. Yeah, Nazgul was exactly what it was supposed to be, and I think it was awesome. But yeah, so I think Sauron left some on the table. Legolas, the Frodo. Where's our Frodo?
Yeah, a lot of the legends ended up not.
Yeah. So are we gonna do it justice, and are we gonna? You have to do so many things right, and it's hard to hit them all and do justice to everything with every set that you're gonna do, and you're gonna do 3. Are you going to get it right with the power level? Or are you going to get it right with doing justice to the legends in the games that people love? People like you were saying about Final Fantasy, like people get emotional about Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Similar to Lord of the Rings.
So I have a very controversial take about, you were talking about what you're nervous about.
Yeah.
You want to hear my very controversial
I'd love
take?
to.
This is going to ruffle feathers for the few people who see it.
All right,
I'm genuinely worried about Commander doing damage to the game.
Okay. And like as Wizards continues to lean into that, so to speak.
So Commander lurched from at the end of the feel like the last 6 months of the year. Commander, I don't play Commander. I'm not a Commander player. I play Commander. I'm not a Commander player. Yeah. I'm not. That's all about. I like Standard, like Constructed. Yeah. 4 cards. I like Commander. I have nothing against it. I'm not anti-Commander. It's great.
It's fun to play.
I own Commander decks. Great.
Yeah.
Commander lurched from controversy to controversy for like the last 3 months, and I feel like it's in a dark place. I feel like people are complaining a lot about it. I feel like there's a darkening about Commander right now.
It's like developing. It's like a stigma, or like becoming taboo.
It is becoming with the collapse of the council. The advisory council, the creation of the new one.
Yeah.
So you had that. You had online.
That was crazy.
You had online harassment of content creators for the banning of those cards, Mana Crypt and Mana Vault, or whatever the hell they do. Death threats, and insanity going on. Yeah, that was a very dark spot, and so that was an ongoing. And we just lurched from, and then Wizards taking control of the whole thing, saying we're going to do this, and partially Wizards' fault for not reprinting a lot of important things.
Yeah.
So, again, the other problem, too, is what it was confirmed, I think mine and I think your suspicion, we had the Nadu problem as well. I know that you were, I know that it affected you more than it did me.
Oh my God.
Because you are a Modern player. And they literally came out and they're like, sorry guys, we changed it at the last minute without any play testing because it wasn't good enough for Commander yet.
Yeah, well, and also we just I think they only tested it for Commander, not for competitive constructed formats.
Yeah, they fiddled around with the batter, they fiddled around with the recipe a little bit.
Yeah,
and and for the sole purpose of we need this to be more powerful for Commander, we want it to be, in that format. It's disconcerting to hear that we're like, yeah, I know we completely fucked up a format, but it helped us. But we're hopefully hopefully we'll be able to sell more commanders that way.
But also that you were designing cards that were in a format
It's
where the first word is modern.
It's
but
literally
you were saying, well, but we wanted to make that an EDH card, and it's like, dude, it's literally called Modern Horizons, and it wasn't one of the commander cards in the set. It was one of the main Modern Horizons cards, and everybody told you when you revealed it that it was gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's another one. Like the fact that they had a chance to ban it early and then they didn't. And we basically suffered through half of a modern season of people just only playing that.
Essentially spiking Modern Horizons, like almost sabotaging, like like nobody wanted to play it.
Yeah. Yeah, people were staying away from the format. And then you had the One Ring still being legal, and then you had those decks playing the One Ring. And it just turned into, there were so many cards that were in the format at that point that like it just turned people off to the idea. I think they did a good job with the bans and unbans recently.
Yeah.
I think it's the format's recovering, but it's like you didn't need to do that much damage to it and then fix it. You could have just not fucked it up in the first place.
Yeah, it really was. How I feel. So if we're talking about fears for the future, and from what I've seen this year, I legitimately worry that we're going to end up with a very we're going to end up with some mistakes regarding, and again, I'm not anti Commander here. I have to defend myself against the Commander players before they come after me. I'm not saying they should ban the format and they shouldn't support it anymore. It's great. I love people playing Magic. I'm concerned that it's gotten so big and so heated that we're going to be running into problems consistently with this
I can see that
issue.
I could definitely see that. One of the things I guess adding to what we hope to see is that hopefully they tone it down a little bit with the Commander-centric approach.
We need to get people a little bit more invested in some other formats, like legitimately.
I think Foundations was a start to that, though.
Absolutely. Foundations was a big hit.
So that was good.
Yeah. Talking about fears of upcoming year of 2025. What is your fears, guys? What is what are you worried about? What are you excited about? What are you worried? So we went over future projections.
I have a piggyback then.
Okay, go for it.
For what we can go right into the next one.
Yeah.
Because I told you I was going to have to take some time to think about it, but you actually said it for me. You're the card that you hated playing against the most this year.
Okay, so let's go into least. We're going to move into the next section, everybody. We're going to start with least favorite, most favorite. Yay.
We'll call okay, so the good and the bad, or the bad and the good. We'll start with the bad.
The bad and the good of the year. Do.
So my least favorite card to play against this year was Nadu. Absolutely.
Wow.
It was just
wow.
It was like you knew the exact like 2 to 3 cards, and that if they were on the board at the same time, you just didn't get to play Magic anymore, and it was pointless.
Wow.
Like you either concede or you sat through it to waste time on the timer to see if your opponent wasn't fast enough. That was literally the only option you had. You were going to lose either way, but maybe you could make the round go to time and you could get a draw, which that's not fun. That's angle shooting, but I'm going to do that if you're going to play Nadu. But sometimes people were that slow and it would take them that long to win, you know? And then conversely, when you have 2 people who are playing Nadu, now you're just in this like weird mirror thing where actually there can be a board state where there's like a draw and like both like go to time a lot because of it. So it was weird, and you had so many people playing it, then you had people who don't know how to play it or don't know how to do it efficiently.
Oh my god.
It turns
it's
into
so funny you mentioned that. I run into a lot of those decks on the stream where I can see what somebody's playing and they're fucking it up every turn.
Yeah, and you're like, well, they just played this because someone said it was the best deck or they saw it was the most popular.
Yeah.
But they don't know what they're doing. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
And it really happened with Nadu. And if it got, it was like, okay, well, I'm going up against this person, but like, I don't know if they know what they're doing, so like, I'm gonna make them beat me.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like you just sat there with your arms crossed and you just couldn't do anything. Seriously,
Absolutely.
you just couldn't do anything. It was terrible.
I think that instead of whatever else we had planned, we can just talk about how we hate Nadu and Simic in general if you want.
Yeah.
You just do that for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, man, it was so bad. The worst part about Nadu was it also there was like 4 or 5 different ways that the Nadu deck could win on the same turn.
Mm-hmm.
It was make a ton of creatures and then give them all haste. It was Thassa's Oracle. There was what was the one? There were so many different things. Those were the 2 main ones that you could do. Give everything haste.
Mm-hmm.
Also there was a lockout version where they could have like infinite Boseijus and infinite what do you call it? And infinite Otawaras.
Yeah.
So they bounce all your creatures, and they just keep bouncing your creatures even after you play them again. Otawaras, they blow up all your lands, and Modern's a format where people don't play that many basics.
Mm-hmm.
So they just keep blowing up your land, blowing up your land, blowing up your land. Just stuff like that. So there was one that kind of like locked you out of the game. There was one that was Thassa's Oracle that just flat out says win the game. There was one that overruns you with 1,000 1/1s and that all get haste.
Yeah.
All kinds of little things like this. That were just such a problem, and there would be so many turns where you thought that you were gonna win. Like that you're like, oh man, if I untap, I win, and then they just like assemble the Nadu Exodia puzzle and kill you. Basically, they get that one last card as a top deck.
Nadu the Forbidden.
The Forbidden one. Yeah, the left leg of Nadu. So yeah, it was miserable and it sucked, especially for me, for someone who was learning the Modern format.
Yeah.
It didn't make it enjoyable as I ventured to do that.
Yeah.
Also, it didn't make it enjoyable that, I spent like $1,100 on the deck that I bought just to deal with that for 2 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was rough. It was not fun. It definitely... It made me like persevere though. I think I got better as a player going through it because I had to like deal with like a lot of anger from it.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if I didn't, if nobody had to deal with that, So that's that's definitely probably the most miserable. If I could think of one card that seeing it just like puts like a little bit of rage in me just by looking at it, I think that's the one. It's got to be.
I have to, and I think we're probably going to agree on ban cards. So, first of all, Simic, as I always say, Nadu is a symptom of a larger issue, which is Simic. And I know that I rag on Simic constantly, and I always make this joke, but I literally mean it, okay? Because they can only ever think of how to do one thing with Simic, and that is draw a card and get an extra land. They do that same fucking Simic mechanic every time, and it's always too fucking powerful. It always is too powerful. It's never
two of the
works.
Most essential things in the game.
They did it with...
And you're giving extra.
They did it with fucking Growth Spiral, which got banned, and they did it with fucking Uro, and it got banned too.
Yeah.
It's always a Simic card, and it's always draw a card and put a land down, or whatever. It's always it's constantly a fucking problem. It never... And they keep trying to work that mechanic into the game because they're like, we want that Simic, Simic value engines like their thing. That's what we want them to do.
Right.
Bros, it doesn't work. It's busted. People are going to play it to the nth degree, and it's going to fucking break the game.
I agree.
And I know it's a meme how much I hate Simic, but it's literally the main problem. When you've had to ban 3 different cards because they do the same thing because it's overpowered, what are we doing here, guys? What are we doing? What are we doing?
And also, like, there's a Simic deck, it's like a Simic base deck, like a green-blue based deck in Standard right now. That's an issue. That Otter deck.
Oh yeah.
Bounce everything.
Yeah, it's miserable.
2 mana, bounce one of your thing, one of my thing, replay the thing, get the card back, do it again, untap all my creatures that tap for mana, do it again, keep doing it till I bounce all your shit. till I draw a bunch of cards, give everything haste. Okay, now I win. It's just like, okay,
it's miserable.
So that's not fun to play against. And I think that if more people played it, they would look at maybe banning that. But yeah, you're right. Just Simic in general. We could definitely have like a Simic hate talk.
We should do a whole podcast about how much Simic sucks. Anyways, we got to move on from. I got to give you mine.
We can add it to the council bylaws.
That,
that Simic is banned in the council.
My number one most hated card, I think. I have a lot of cards that I hate, and if I'm talking about a card that came out this year, that was a constant problem. And I wouldn't even say, I would say hated, because there's cards that I like and I know that are OP and I would still play them. A card that I didn't even really play and I knew that was going to be a problem from the beginning with, and that fucked with the game severely, I think is no surprise. And it was Leyline of Residence. What a bad idea, man. It's just one of those what are you thinking cards, man. Like,
I don't disagree.
Again, another one that had to be emergency banned. I mean, there was a week where the game was almost unplayable.
Best of one was like unplayable.
Best of one was basically unplayable. You had the ability to just kill turn 2 kill.
The turn 2 kill was just unheard of because it's standard.
Absolutely absurd. Absolutely ridiculous.
And it made early access a lot less fun too. Then that kind of pissed me off.
It made early access less fun. Yeah. The power level of Duskmourn was really high.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that we kind of realize that now, that Duskmourn was very high, and it was a very liked format. But there are some busted cards in there. I almost chose for my most hated is Sheltered by Ghosts, because basically the game is over if you don't have it. If they get it out and you don't have the good removal for it, you can be fucked out of the game.
Yeah, I think that's definitely. I was thinking about Sheltered by Ghosts and I don't think it's like a bad card.
I don't think
it's a really good card. It's just it does too much.
Yeah, I don't think that's my most hated, because honestly, I play it. I just put it in my Angels deck.
It's such a broken.
It's
card.
so good. It's so fucking broken. But
a card that 3 problems at once for 2
a card that I didn't even really enjoy playing, and that I was like, again, going to myself, bros, what are you thinking, bros? What are you thinking with it? The same with Nadu. You look at a card and you're like, I can immediately, like, my brain, just my analytical brain.
We did that with Resonance.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're right. We looked at it and we're like, this is gonna be a huge issue.
Yeah, no, it was. It absolutely was a huge issue.
So yeah, I totally agree. All right, well, let's do the best then.
Best card. I'll let you go first for best card.
All right. The best one for me, they came out this year, huh?
Came out this year. Came out with one of these sets. I already know mine.
You know yours? Okay. For this year...
Yeah.
Man, it might have to be... I think it is, dude. I think it's Bandit's Talent.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just... It won me a store championship. It did really well on ladder.
It's a huge pressure card, yeah.
I love playing discard. I can't think of another card really off the top of my head that I'm like, dude, I love this card. There were a few things from Ixalan, but that was last year. Yeah. Like Bloodletter. If Bloodletter came out this year, I think I'd pick Bloodletter.
Oh yeah, well, Bloodletter's an MVP. No
matter what other? I'm trying to think. Enduring Tenacity is really cool, but and maybe it's just because I haven't had as much time with it. You know, but like as the black cards from Duskmourn, we hit on the ones that we thought were going to be good and everything. But but there is Unholy Annex. That's one of them also.
Yeah.
But But I feel like the demon decks are becoming less good right now.
Mm-hmm.
So in turn, I think that I appreciate the success I've had more with Bandit's talent because I've had more success with that. I'm gonna put it that way.
Okay.
And I think that's why I would put it above Annex, which I think Annex is up there too, for sure. Vagaboth is a really cool card, but I don't know.
No, he's not the best one.
Yeah, he's a sick card. But yeah.
I'm gonna meet you on that one, and I'm gonna tell you that my probably favorite card of the year is Annex.
Okay.
That shit is like hot sauce now. That shit is on everything.
It's so good.
I'm shoving that shit. Listen, I don't even care that it does 2 damage. I'll put it in a Vampire Life Gain deck because I don't give a shit about the 2.
Sure.
You know, it's good in gain. Here's the thing, in all the styles that I like to play, it's good.
Yeah.
Gain and drain, demons.
Agreed.
You know, enchantments. It's just
it's so good.
I probably, and I called it. I'm so happy that I looked at it and I was like, this
is so on point. Yeah.
This is gonna be boo. This is I love this card.
Yeah.
It has absolutely. It has taken a card like Phyrexian Arena, which was already a staple, and just
steroids.
It is a flat upgrade to a previously existing power card.
Yeah. I totally agree.
I want it. I want it in everything. I want to play it in everything.
Yeah, I think you. Yeah, I think that's probably my number 2 for the year. So I definitely like that. I can't think of any other black cards from Bloomburrow that were really good for me. I'm trying to think.
Bloomburrow did not excel in black.
Yeah, no, it didn't. It didn't. It had a couple bangers, but I think we thought Maha was gonna be one.
We thought Maha might be good, but
and it just wasn't.
Maha just crapped out. Even Season of Loss didn't.
Yeah, we really wanted Season of Loss to be good, and it just kind of wasn't. Unfortunately, I think it was just it's too easy to get a bunch of creatures on the board in standard if you want to. Just makes it not good.
Yeah.
I would put Vein Ripper up there too. It's not played very much anymore, but when Vein Ripper came out, those decks were fun.
Vein Ripper's perfectly perfect. Vein Ripper's great. Yeah.
Vein Ripper's great. He got banned in Pioneer. He was that good.
Yeah, no, he's great.
No, I'm sorry, he didn't get banned, but like the deck that was the payoff got basically banned. The Sorin got banned. Yeah. So, yeah, I think I might put I'd probably go. I don't want to start a ranking, but like Bandit's Talent, Annex, Vein Ripper, probably my top 3 for the year. For a while, I really liked the Hostile Investigator from Thunder Junction.
You were a Hostile Investigator type of guy.
I was all over it.
You were telling me to run that in a lot of stuff.
Man, it was good. If you wanted to draw some cards and you wanted to discard,
it's a pretty good card. Yeah, no doubt.
Great 3 for 1. Now you don't really play it, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I feel it's a 4-drop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean a 4-drop might as well. In today's game, a 4-drop might as well be a 50-drop.
There was a lot of situations where Shoulder ended up being better. That was the issue.
And frankly, I think that it did get, by your favorite card, it did get a little bit outclassed by some of the later discards.
Yeah. Bandit's Talent is definitely better than that. And like, you can sink your 4 mana into the Bandit's Talent to permanently draw a card every turn for the rest of the game if you do it right. So for 4 mana, maybe just leveling up a Bandit's Talent's better than playing a Hostile Investigator, So that's a thing too. But yeah, I'm going Bandit's Talent for sure. I'm turning around and looking at it right now in my playable.
Oh, you have Paper Bandits, huh?
Oh yeah. I have 4 of them. I got a playset. But yeah, I'm who was it? Was it Larry? Larry asked someone to make a discard deck. I got to make that for him yet. I'm gonna make a discard deck for Larry there and see if we can get something going with discard, because I think I'm having a hard time with demons right now in standard, so I think I gotta switch it up and just play some discard and just go for it.
I'm probably gonna have to start playing some discard as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still in freaking plat, dude. So I'm stuck.
Oh, dude, I
so
almost hit I was on my way to Mythic. I don't know if you saw last night. I went from Diamond 2 to Flat Diamond 4.
Oh
I
my
lost
god!
every single game that I
terrible.
ran.
That's
every
terrible,
single game that I ran was a fucking blowout. Like legitimately, a total blowout.
That's how it's been like the last week or so for me. It feels just unwinnable a lot of the time, unfortunately. So yeah, I've been kind of chilling, you know. But yeah, it's whatever. But yeah, usually when I get fed up, I'm like, okay, it's discard time. You know, that's kind of where it goes. But yeah, so we're gonna maybe we'll see some more Band's talent, you know, doing stuff before the year ends here. We'll see what's up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we did that. We have our now. What do you want to do the most?
I want to talk about your
go ahead.
favorite. Oh yeah. So I hate to cut you off, but I want to talk about your favorite set of the year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What was okay? So we'll do. Should we throw Foundations in there? Or should we say aside from Foundations?
We'll say aside from, just because it's the core set's like it's not going to be either of our favorite set, so it's probably not worth throwing. I mean, we could throw it in there, but I don't think either of us are going to choose it. So
yeah,
I'm choosing Duskmourn.
You're choosing Duskmourn?
Yeah.
You know, I kind of have to agree with you.
It's so good.
I will have to go and say what is our next favorite one. They really killed it with Duskmourn. Like
next favorite, I wasn't a huge Karloff Manor hater. That just might be because of how much I enjoyed how Standard was when that came out, and how much I enjoyed.
So your number
Ripper.
2, you're taking the dark horse. Your number 2 is Karloff.
I think it might be because I think Thunder Junction might have been my least favorite. Bloomborough is fine. It's probably between Bloomborough and Karloff Manor, but
wow. My number 2, since we both agree on Duskmourn, my number 2 is OTJ.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I really liked OTJ. I even like the story and the aesthetics. I've been waiting for a Wild West set for a while, and I was surprised at the poor reception. I felt like it did a lot. I think they're not communicating the sets well enough, like what's going on in them, because like even during the podcast, when you were like, "Oh, I didn't even know that about what was
about
going
Aether
on.
Drift."
Yeah, or that what was going on with the Omen paths and all those things.
Yes.
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was in the lore." So I think that probably my number 2 was I would probably put Duskmourn, OTJ, then Bloomborough, then Karloff. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay.
I'm Bloomborough agnostic.
Okay.
Bloomborough, the style of the things that it did to the game, it really dragged the game in an aggro direction.
Okay, that's reasonable. Yeah, well, I guess, I think the reason I didn't pick Bloomborough to be second was it's like so many freaking mice. Just like,
I know. The mice thing is what turned me off as well. It's
you printed a whole deck in one set, basically. Kind of like Modern Horizons did with Energy.
Yeah.
And then it became like, the premier aggro deck, and that happened in multiple formats, and it's just like, I don't really love that. I like that people can buy that and get into it easily. That's nice. But I don't like how much better it was than like any other aggro, and still is, in my opinion. So yeah, I think that was the issue there for sure. Thunder Junction, I think I was like hyped for it, and it just didn't hit the way I thought it would. I think that was one of my issues with it. And I think maybe part of my enjoyment of Karloff Manor was like right as MagicCon was happening.
Yeah, you were in Chicago for all that too.
Yeah, and it was like there was a lot of hype around Vein Ripper at the time, and I was playing Vein Rippers, and it was just like a really and I played a lot of Standard, and played multiple Standard events. And I think at that time of year, or like shortly after, like I think up until like Thunder Junction came out, like Standard was the format for RCQs as well. So we're playing a lot of Standard when Karlov Manor itself came out, which I think that was relevant too. So just something to look at there. But yeah, I really did enjoy. I actually enjoyed Karlov Manor, but like just for like some black cards, I think that it's like I'm pretty one-dimensional when it comes to like the set being pleasing to me. You know what I mean? Like we got Deadly Cover-Up, we got Vein Ripper, we got a couple other random removal cards. We did get the Surveil lands too, which you can't sleep on those.
No, the Surveil lands are pretty decent.
People talk a lot of shit and people hate on the set a lot.
I mean,
those Surveil lands are played in every format, and they're I think they're the most expensive lands that came out this year. I'll put it that way. I think
we have to call Mark Rosewater and tell them that we found the Karlov Manor fan.
I'm your guy. I'm your guy. I didn't mind it. I didn't hate it as much as everyone else did. But Duskmourn is like I think Duskmourn is light years ahead of anything that came out this year.
Oh yeah, I think by far.
And in regards to drafting, I drafted Duskmourn a lot, and it was so fun every time. I always had fun. I drafted Bloomburrow a decent amount. I had a lot of fun drafting. If you want me to rank it in order of most fun to draft, I would actually rank it how your viewers on YouTube did. Duskmourn, Bloomburrow, Thunder Junction, Karlov Manor probably last. I think Karlov Manor was a miserable draft set, and that was a big issue. And I think a lot of the reason it was not well received. I think that was, you have to look at it from both sides, for the constructed and limited side. The limited games in Karlov Manor were so bad. That was an issue. Thunder Junction had cool mechanics and the spree stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that made limited a little more fun.
Yeah.
That was a new thing for limited. I don't think Karlov Manor offered anything new to limited that it hadn't really seen before. That was an issue. Bloomburrow brought new stuff, and it made it so you could just like play tribal decks in limited, which is kind of cool. So that was fun. But Duskmourn was just like some of the most unique stuff, and the whole Manifest Dread. That was really, really cool for limited, and Delirium. So if you ask me for limited how they went, I would definitely group it differently.
Yeah.
So we did favorite, we did our favorite set and least favorite set
simultaneously
at the same time.
That's so funny that we differ so much on, and the irony is that you like Karlov for a lot of the mechanics. I also didn't like it because of the lore, and you're not really like a lore guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we had like different priorities when it comes to like what's going on there. Yeah,
we evaluate a little bit differently based on what we get out of the game. So that's very true. That's very true. Yeah, from a lore standpoint, I don't know much about any of them, being brutally honest with you. Aside from like what you and maybe a couple other people tell me about it. I think the Duskmourn lore, people didn't love it, but it was like fine. But yeah. But now, this is one I know we wanted to talk about.
Okay, here we go.
We're doing best and worst. So now we're going to do our best deck.
Favorite deck of the year.
Favorite deck year, and then we'll do our least favorite to either play against or that we've played, whatever. My favorite of the year is the mono black discard.
Your favorite of the year is mono black discard.
Yeah, wow. The one that won me the store championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean it got you the.
It was just it was awesome. It was so fun. I do enjoy the I like the demon deck. I just think it's fallen off a little bit.
It has. It's a little slower.
Yeah, and it's such an aggressive format right now. So that's a little bit of an issue, but I do like the demons a lot. And I don't hate that we have the Exquisite Blood combo in Standard right now, but once again, just a little bit slow. That's our issue.
I have to admit that my favorite deck this year, and also it just so happened, maybe because I poured all my love into it, man, it's a close one. I'll do my favorite and runner-up. Maybe you can tell me runner-up. Man, Orzhov Vampires fucking pop, dude.
Oh, when we played that one, yeah, that was sick, dude.
Well, I mean, just even the one, yeah, we played one of them, and then, but that we played a mono black, I believe. But the Orzhov one with, especially from Foundations. Let me say a special word of Foundations, tying it back to, if Foundations was a full set, that would have been my set of the year.
Okay.
If it was a full set, I don't know if we can legally call it set of the year because it's kind of in a weird middle ground spot.
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard for me to say, oh yeah, it's great, because it's like 100 reprints, so it's like, all right, well, you know, there's a couple of new cards, but is there enough? But man, Orzhov Vampires have absolute fucking gas, dude. Especially with some of the reprints and the new cards. I love Gain and Drain. I love Vampires.
Yeah.
That is probably the most fun that I've had, and it was my most liked, most loved, most watched deck, and that is just like Elenda is so fucking good. I think people are sleeping on Elenda, to be honest.
I think Elenda's good. I think Elenda is pretty awesome.
I think Elenda's going to come up and coming soon. I think people are going to realize that she's really solid, especially now in the removal meta. She can't be targeted with instants.
Yeah, that's sick.
Vampire, the infinite loop, gain and drain, all the veto stuff. You combine them with bats; they synergize with bats really well. Like,
that's true. Yeah, they are. Yeah, vampires and bats go kind of like almost hand in hand.
So yeah, I can't say enough good things about Vampire Orzhov this year. I think that edging it out very closely is, I love the Golgari Mossberg. The Mossberg pump is so much fun. I think people are sleeping on that one too. When you do a Golgari landfall Mossberg, Mossborn Hydra, where you can get the Mossborn
that
Hydra
one's
to
sick. Yeah,
I have absolutely slapped people in the face with that so hard out of nowhere. They're not expecting it. They get hit with a 26/26 Hydra immediately because I put down 2 lands or something like that, and that is a lot of fun. So that's probably my runner-up, but I got to choose Vampires. I just have too much of a good time with it.
Yeah, I think that's solid. Yeah, it kind of makes me want to do a vampire deck now. I think when we made a vampire deck, we splashed white just a little bit because we had the we had the removal guy.
Yeah.
Remember?
Who did we add? I can't remember.
It was the guy from Thunder Junction that, like, if you sacrificed a creature when you played it, he destroyed target non-land permanent.
Oh yeah, the silver guy, whatever.
Yeah. So we had a light splash of white. That was your suggestion, actually, and it went well. Yeah, I had a good time with that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think my least favorite now. Least favorite deck to play against?
Okay, let's do least favorite. Yeah, what is your least favorite deck to play against? What is it when this deck pops up? You're like, what is this fucking trash?
Yeah, I think it's right now. It's Dimir. I would say before rotation, it was definitely like the Azorius Control. You know, I think a lot of the good cards for Azorius Control rotated out, and now they have to play more creatures, which just makes it like more of like a regular deck. But yeah, I think Dimir right now, like the Dimir mid range with all the flash stuff, all the like tap down your guys, all of that.
Yeah.
You throw Kaido now in there, and Kaido's really good.
Kaido's crazy. Yeah.
That deck does a lot of things, and it has just like really good removal, and it has counter spells when it wants to.
It is. It's an apex predator of control. It has removal, knockback,
and it has enough win cons to be a problem. Yeah, I just hate playing against Dimir. It's a really good deck though. That's the part of the reason that it's so frustrating. The deck is great, and it has like an answer for every little thing, which is that's one of my biggest problems.
Speaking of answers for everything, probably the least fun that I have when it pops up, and probably that I scored the least wins on my personal nightmare deck. You mentioned Azorius Control being a pain in the ass. The Dimir's a pain in the ass. I feel like I play enough black where I can kind of outgun them occasionally.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. Like, I can kind of I can kind of match them. I can't always, but sometimes I can snipe Kato. Sometimes I got enough things that I can be sneaky about and everything else. Man, Azorius, the Azorius Artifacts deck is such a fucking pain in my ass, dude.
So, yeah, that's up there for me too. I'm glad I don't see it as much now, but yes, that is up there for me.
Because what is this? A simulacrum simulator, whatever the fuck the name of simulacrum.
Yeah, I think solemn simulacrum or something.
No, not solemn simulacrum.
No, not solemn. Simulacrum synthesizer.
Simulacrum synthesizer. Yeah, I don't often stock artifact removal. And who stocks artifact removal unless you're running red and you have it in a braid or something. But the fact that they can basically control the game until they can crap out 5 artifacts at once and have 3 10/10s.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and then also produce 3 each turn.
Exactly, and you throw in it with Bloombro, you have Innkeeper's Talent where they're drawing.
Yeah, that's an issue.
And
they have counter spells.
They have counter spells. They put Sunfall in there.
Sunfall's in there.
They put up Split Up the Party. They put up Split Up the Party. Now they're putting with Foundations. They're putting fucking Authority of the Consoles.
Oh, that's gross.
They just deny you any game.
Yeah,
they just completely deny you.
It's not fun. It's not fun to play against. Yeah, and what I think you know what I hate about it even more. I hate how excited people are to play it.
Yeah, people run to that.
I played against it in paper, and this dude was so excited about his cool Azorius Artifact deck, and I was just like, the whole time it's like, dude, this is the most miserable shit I've ever dealt with in my life. And it was just, it was so bad. And of course I lost, but it was just like, he was so excited about being able to play that deck.
God, and no, it's a miserable experience.
And it's just like, dude, this is not
fun.
One person is having fun right now, and it is not me.
No, it is so heavy into removal, control, counterspell, just so much shit.
And trust me, in Pioneer it's even worse. Trust me, it's
and that net, the reflector net.
Oh, the braided net or whatever.
They put down braided net. They put down reflector net. Yeah, they generate a bunch of clue tokens. They're just so set up to. It's one of those position players that just has every problem.
Yeah, that's miserable. That's definitely up there for me. That's easily in the top 3 of my least favorite. I would definitely hard agree there. And for a while, it was that mono blue Haughty Djinn deck. That was miserable.
Oh, Oculus. I mean, Oculus is such a pain in the ass deck. The thing is, I probably have a better win rate on Oculus because occasionally I have enough that I can outgun them, or I have graveyard hate.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind it as much now that it has Oculus, but back when it was like only Haughty Djinn and Tolarian Terror,
and
then what that allowed them to do was like literally play like every counter spell in the format. And it was just 1 mana counter anything.
It was 1 mana counter everything.
And that was the biggest problem. Now with the Oculus, they have to be more creature focused, and they can't play as many counter spells. It's a little bit less frustrating, and they also splash other colors. It's a little more inconsistent, but a higher power level. But when it was just the Djinn and Tolarian Terror, and it was just mono blue, it was so miserable.
And they always took forever too. But that's all blue players and Azorius players. They fucking drag their feet because they like that. I lose to that deck. I've beaten it occasionally, but I probably have like a 25% win rate on it. I lose to that deck constantly. Just the way I play. Just the way I play is not because really what you need is board wipes and artifact destruction. The way I play is just not conducive to ever beating that deck. I can maybe if I'm running maybe like a Boros aggro, I can maybe get out under them.
Kill them fast enough, yeah.
Yeah, if I can get out under them and they kind of bungle, they get a shitty hand and they're not getting quite what they need right away, and I'm putting suppressive fire on them. Yeah, I can hold them back, but
that's fair.
It's like if they get a perfect line on turn 4, you're just never gonna get anywhere. You're just gonna be locked out of the game. So
I agree. Yeah,
it's pretty miserable. So yeah, that's my least favorite deck. We want to know yours, guys, too. We're talking a lot about favorite cards, least favorite cards.
I know people don't like playing against that discard deck. I'll tell you.
I know people. So actually, you know what? Can I tell you a funny statistic?
Sure.
That our most disliked video of the year. This is a fun statistic here that we can bring.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
The most disliked, is discard, is a mono black discard deck. If we're talking about, it has 5 dislikes.
Okay, so it's not like a ton, but like it's more than any other still.
Yeah, it's not crazy. It's not like people loathe it or anything like that. But I thought
I thought you were gonna say like 20, 30 dislikes or something.
No. It has 5. I don't mind. For the most part, my videos don't get dislike bombed.
It might get like 1 here and there, but yeah. 5 is 5. That's
It has the worst ratio. It has. Let me pull it up for you right here. That was not Vampire Black. That was.
The Bloomborough discard, right?
The Bloomborough discard, the discard kings. It's 79 likes to 5 dislikes.
Okay,
got a 94% ratio.
94%.
Which is the lowest. Yeah.
Hey, a lot of views though. At least they watched it.
They watched it. The people watched it, but people
Thanks for watching.
People. I mean, I think people dislike. I think people dislike. Discard the way that we dislike control. I think. Yeah. I guess it's a form of control.
It is. It absolutely is.
I feel like it's less invasive because discard can backfire occasionally.
Yes. And we actually let you play your cards.
We do. Yeah. We're trying to stop them from even. We're trying to stop them nascent. We don't even want you to ever have to play them. We're not going to stop you from playing them, but I think it's a method of control that is.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think people are just people are anti-control in general. We're not anti-control in general because we do play the discard decks that are technically control. Mm-hmm. But yes, there are combo players, aggro players. They're going to be anti-control. That's just going to be, I think, a type of Magic player.
I think the biggest issue is that our win con isn't discard. Our win con is something else.
Yeah, well, but also I mean, Bandit's Talent could win us the game because 4 Bandit's Talents all the way leveled up if you have no cards in hand.
I want to point out that win con is life drain.
Right. Yeah, it's making you lose life. Exactly.
Yeah, see what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what we like, and I think that's why we like that. I think that's why Bandit's Talent opened us up to discard a little more this year than maybe previously. Yeah. Because before discard, it wasn't always as fun. Now it's okay, every turn we're getting closer, we're getting there, and then I'm gonna draw extra cards, and it was cool. But before discard was I hope that I can keep their hand empty long enough and then draw my card that wins the game.
I think there's enough damaging. Again, there's enough drain, there's enough life gain that there's a couple position players that you always have a spot for some discard to at least keep the most dangerous things out of their hand. And frankly, what I target, I look for your control cards. I'm looking for your Sunfalls. I'm looking for your counter spells. That's what I'm trying to go against.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's another thing is usually when someone plays discard, something made them feel like they had to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's what they went against the most. The other decks they're playing aren't working. They're just getting flat out beaten down like you and I are right now. Mm-hmm. That's why we're I think maybe I'm going to try discard again.
Well, and the funny thing is that I see people play discard bad. And and they bungle it in a way that the only cards they have they lean too hard into discard. And like I said, it's not a win con. They just keep drawing more discard cards and bro, my hand's empty. I draw a card and I play it. Mm-hmm. You're playing sorceries on your turn or you're doing activations on your turn to make me discard. You've gotten rid of my hand now. You've got to move on to something else. And I think people bungle it sometimes. So
and then I think also a lot of the signs of a good discard deck is you drawing more cards than the opponent, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I think that they forget to include the card draw, and then it gets to a point where you're both just top decking. And if your deck is only discard spells and then you're top decking, then your opponent's top decks are going to be better than yours, and then you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. So you need to have the other things. Having a guy like Aklazot's Deepest Betrayal is really cool because that's a 4-mana flyer with lifelink that'll kill you, but he also makes you discard a card every time he attacks. Mm-hmm. AKA he's good in a discard deck, Mm-hmm. So little things like that.
You can always build something.
Yeah, so just that's kind of where that's at. But yeah, that's why I feel like the discard deck isn't as bad because of like you said, kind of because that win con is actually decent. But yeah, there's always gonna be someone who just they hate discard. I have a guy who comes into my stream and every time I play Explorer or like Modern or Pioneer on stream, he'll be like, "Oh man, I hate Thoughtseize. It's my least favorite card," and I'm like, "Thoughtseize is my favorite card."
Of course,
it's the best. But yeah, so just little things like that. You know, there's always going to be, it's the different style play, like the Timmies, all those different names of players, whatever. Those guys, like some of them are going to care more. The Andys, the Timmies, whatever.
Yeah.
The Jimmies, whatever their names are.
Orthos and everything else.
Yeah, so all that, it's just part of it. And, you know, we get it. We can't be everyone's cup of tea, but it is funny that the discard is the most commonly disliked. I think that's great.
Yeah, it has the worst ratio, I think, out of any. Like I said, it's
that's hilarious, man.
It's 94% ratio, which is the lowest, and it has the most. I checked out of every.
That's so funny.
This year. The most loved deck was people love the shit out of Foundation's preview deck.
Yeah,
Foundation's preview that had 102 likes to one dislike. So that was
okay. That's good. Yeah,
that was 99% like ratio, which is insanely high.
It's a good ratio.
People were very excited about Foundations. What would you say is? Let's finish it up with this.
Mm-hmm.
What was the best moments in Magic this year for you and for Magic in general? And what are you looking forward to next year the most? And what do you hope we see next year more than anything else? So what's your moment in Magic? It doesn't have to be with you. It could be at the RCQ or whatever, you know.
Yeah. I think the first one was just like being in MagicCon Chicago. That was really fun. I had a really good time out there, and then playing in the standard event was very fun. Getting all the tickets that I got to just get like a bunch of free product was sick. Like winning like a box and a half worth of cards was pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And then seeing a lot of people that I knew with. We had a really good team dinner in Chicago. I just I appreciated that in this past year that Magic got me to a lot of places that I had never been before, like physically, like you know, like Chicago, visiting, like Chicago, Virginia. I never really gone to like Virginia. I went back to Baltimore. That was pretty cool. I didn't get to go to Vegas, unfortunately, but you know, like it's whatever. I got to go to Philly out of that, which I love going to Philly. Was there another SCG con that I went to? I don't think there was. I think it was Philly, Baltimore, and then Virginia for the regional championship. But then, so that was like beginning of the year that I enjoyed being in Chicago, and then middle of the year was winning the RCQ in May. That was great.
Yeah, it's got to be a highlight.
Yeah. Then kind of towards the end, you know, in September, winning the store championships was awesome. That was really cool. I felt awesome about where I was in Magic at that day. Like my mindset was good. The last quarter of the year, there wasn't really anything terribly memorable, other than just maybe learning Modern, but it wasn't, you know, for a while. Like it wasn't that in the beginning. It wasn't that great of a format, you know. But towards the end, playing Modern was fine, and now I'm happy with you know, to be able to play a lot of Standard. I wasn't able to win an RCQ before this year ended, but you know, we have about 3 months of RCQ season for Standard yet, so
absolutely.
We'll see. Yeah,
I would have to say I think at the same time we both got back in, but specifically for me, I was so stoked to be back in early access.
Yeah, having the early access and having a consistent thing with it was pretty quick.
That was probably, so I got back in Bloomburrow, but I have to say something was very special about Duskmorn early access.
Yeah,
there was a lot of energy. I probably streamed and played the most I've ever played running Duskmorn early access, and I beat Ali Eldrazi.
Nice.
I had an epic game with Ash Lizzie that was like down to the wire, where she was running Dread and I was running Valgavoth Reanimator, and we battled for like 15 minutes and we had a great game. So Duskmorn early access was very something special. Being able to be early and being a part of that was amazing. Thank you to Wizards for that.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're running it again. that was the hype was real for that one. I wish we would have gotten a Foundations early access. Probably my second biggest one is the first week of Foundations was explosive.
Yeah,
the activity on my channel was crazy. I did not expect Foundations to pop off like that, but I was brewing. I was brewing like a fucking witches. I was brewing like crazy. There were so many good things going on. I really underestimated Foundations. I had a blast with it. There was a week where I was on a hit streak.
That's cool.
And the channel really popped off too. The highest views I've ever had, literally the top most views per day I ever had was during the first week of Foundations.
And for the podcast too.
And for the podcast. But yeah, like the most single day views I've ever had, period, in the history of my channel was during the Foundations the first week. The hype was real. I was excited about it. The meta was really shaken up a lot. Unfortunately, it stagnated again, but it we know that happens. There's nothing we can do about that. But there was some real energy with their Foundations popping. So I would say Duskmorn release and Foundations release were absolutely highlights. They were really, really, really big special times for me and for my channel. And as far as looking into the future, if there is early access for Final Fantasy, I'm going to be stoked. My biggest dream, I'll share with everyone, my biggest childhood dream in the world right now, if they let me premiere a card from Final Fantasy, I think I could just walk into the sea after that. I fulfilled my life's mission, because all I did in the 90s when I was a kid was play Final Fantasy and play Magic cards. Like 1999 to like 2001, that's pretty much all I did. So to see them both combined and have gotten a platform big enough that I could be able to be a part of that. So that's what I'm looking forward to in 2025. Hopefully my dream will come true.
I'll see that, and I'll take a preview card for anything at this point.
Yeah. I'll take one for anything.
Yeah.
If they didn't want to give me one for the rest of the year, if they didn't want to give me any other preview card for the whole year, and they let me release a fucking common, I wouldn't care. Just to say
Final Fantasy.
Just to say I premiered one of the Final Fantasy collaborations, the first ever Final Fantasy collaborations. I premiered one of the MTG cards.
It'd be pretty
channel.
sick.
It would be insane. So
that'd be pretty sick.
That's
I'd be really happy for you.
That's my secret wish. I'd love to get you one, me one, and the channel one. And the council one. So
yeah, I'd be down for that.
So
I'll have to see if I can work some connections at MagicCon when I go and see what happens.
We'll have to talk to somebody. The podcast passed 60,000 concurrent total views.
That's good.
So the podcast has generated 60,000 views in and of itself. And my channel is closing in on 4 million. So
yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, we're growing. We're happy
we're getting there.
Happy to grow with you guys this year, and we're thankful that the rest of the council helped us grow.
It is literally
as much as we did.
It is literally nothing without you guys. You guys are the ones watching. You guys are the one coming by and supporting and liking the videos. So thank you to the rest of the council members. Thank you to all the people supporting and watching and doing everything that you do. We really appreciate it. And we hope to see you, and we hope you had a great 2024.
Yes.
We hope you have a great 2025, a fantastic one.
We hope you have a prosperous new year, and that you enjoy playing Magic, and that we hope that you'll join us in the council and for our episodes in the new year. And for those of you who are already here, hopefully you stick with us, and we can keep this thing going, because it's been very fun so far, and Jay and I have zero intention of stopping anytime soon.
We're going to be finishing up year 3 this coming August. That'll be our 3-year anniversary, I believe. We started in 2002, I believe.
22, yeah.
22? Yeah, let me look. That was when our first upload was. So we're in our 3rd year right now, and we'll have completed our 3rd year by the end of it. So
we're thankful. But
absolutely. So thank you all for the support. Here's to another great year. August of 2022 was our first upload.
Okay. Yep.
So August of 2025 will be our 3 years anniversary completed. So
we're definitely looking forward to that, and many more anniversaries.
Absolutely. So Until next time, guys, I think we're going to say, I've been Jay Villain, you've been great. We're going to call this meeting of the council to the close, and we'll see you next year.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye, everybody.